Hey fellow coders and non-coders. My name is Vladimír Hrušovský and I am a solution architect at Hotovo, where I've been working for over 10 years. And I've been very lucky to be able to work on multiple projects in Hotovo, and many of those were greenfield projects, so I had a chance to try out new technologies. And lately, this has also included AI projects using LLMs like GPT models and Gemini models as well. So I've been a developer for over 20 years, and I really enjoy coding. I love it. But we as developers, we just can't ignore the fact that a shift is coming. And we as developers, we basically need to acknowledge that AI is something that we will have to integrate into our workflows. So today I would like to talk about, sorry, I forgot to switch. Today I would like to talk about one of those AI coding tools. This project, AiderDesk, is a very personal project to me, but it's also very deeply work-related because I use it every day during my work, and I improve it during my free time. Therefore, it's personal to me as well. So it's a tool born from my own needs as a developer. Yeah, so here you can see like various AI coding tools I could think of. So you can challenge yourself how many of those you know. So imagine like in 90s, you would have this many IDEs to choose from, like it would be crazy. So as you can see, like the AI coding market is really not holding back. And just in this last year, we've seen an incredible number of AI tools emerge. Most of these tools like GitHub Copilot or Cursor, Windsurf, they are subscription-based. So you basically pay your monthly fee. But there is also another class of tools which are that you use bring your own model key, and those are Klein, Rucode, for example, and us as well, Eider. So basically, you use your own API key only pay for what you actually consume through the API. So I think the last year where Cursor brought serious attention to AI coding, I think that was the beginning of some real traction for these tools. And when more developers started to notice that, okay, this is something we cannot just ignore. But for example, Cursor, Windsurf, they are VS Code based, they are forked for VS Code. And for myself, I always worked with IntelliJ IDEA, and this was really tricky to me because I tried several times to switch to something VS Code-like, but I just couldn't do it. My workflow, my muscle memory, and all the tools I relied on were in IntelliJ IDEA, and basically I needed a tool that would not replace my whole IDE, but would just enhance it. And that's how I got to the fundamental part of AiderDesk, and it's also right in the name. It's called Aider. For those of you who don't know, Aider is a powerful command line interface. It's AI pair programmer, and it was actually first AI coding tools that started this CLI era. And later, Anthropic's Cloud Code and other emerging CLIs would basically follow the similar approach. And basically, Aider was a big inspiration to those tools. So what makes the Aider very powerful? It's Git integration, the ability to select various models from different providers, also local models, not only the hosted ones. And most importantly, context awareness, which is basically achieved using the repository map and a tool called Tree-Sitter. So this also gives Aider a clear understanding of your entire code base, and that was actually a massive advantage over some other AI coding assistants. So basically, in Aider, the general workflow was very simple. You put the files into the context you want to work on, then you give task to Aider, and Aider basically ask LLM to update the code, the files, and give you back the updated files directly on your computer. So this is quite good, but the thing is that you basically had to add and manage your files in context manually. And I used Aider for over a month or so, and I was very happy with its coding capabilities. It was very good. But as I used it more, this major pain point became more and more apparent. So to work with the file, you basically had to type /add file, then run a command or task, and then basically when you wanted to clear the context, you had to drop it from the context. So this was manual work and was constant pain and basically a break in my workflow. So I was thinking, how can I automate this, right? So I had an idea. What if I created an IntelliJ IDEA plugin that basically could automatically add and remove files from the IDES context, and based on what you had opened in your IDE. So basically, the plugin would see your open files you had in the IDE and add them, remove them from IDES context, and this would solve your manual file management problem. And I was really excited about the idea, and actually I used Aider to help me build the plugin itself. It was very quick implementation, was working very well, and also changes to Aider's core code, because as Aider's open source, I was able to do it very easily. And yeah, so Aider actually also updated the Aider's code to get it working. So after working with this improved workflow, where I had this plugin automatically managing my context files, there was another pain point emerging, and that's the fact that Aider was very synchronous and blocking. So basically, you couldn't really see your files in the real time you had added there. So you basically had to hit enter to see the files updated. And I tried to fix this, but given the Aider's architecture, I just couldn't figure out how to do it easily without changing too much of this architecture. And back then, even the LLMs weren't very helpful with that issue. So this was a branching point for me, and I knew exactly how the workflow should look like, but I wasn't able to execute it within the IDES Python code base. But I knew that I could basically build it with the technologies I was more comfortable with, like React or Node.js. So I decided to create a simple desktop application that basically would be just the GUI wrapper around Aider. And honestly, the initial proof of concept was mostly vibe coded. Even the term wasn't even really a thing back then, and was coined later by Andrew Karpathy. In February, and again, Aider was definitely the main driver of this implementation of this proof of concept or this prototype. And by iterating quickly, I could really get to working prototype really fast. And it really was a success. It used Aider. Aider was used still in the background, and AiderDesk was being the main view, giving me additional capabilities like this file management, for instance. So just a little bit of technical details here. So how the AiderDesk connects to the Aider engine. The communication is handled by using the WebSockets in between, and in between there was a Python connector that basically was using or running the Aider. So the AiderDesk would set the command to this connector. Then the connector would call Aider. Aider would run the coding task in the background, ask the LLM to see the changes, to get the changes, and stream back the result to AiderDesk. So Aider was still doing the heavy lifting, but the GUI was managing the user's experience. So with AiderDesk, I became both like the user and the developer. And this meant that I could build features that were immediately useful to me. I could switch models with the click of the button. And most importantly, I built a killer feature back then, I think. And it was the viewer. So one of the biggest things Aider was missing for me was a clear way to see the changes it had made. And with AiderDesk, I had this Diff viewer, just like you would see in your IDE or in the pull request on GitHub, which gave me much better visibility, but more importantly, trust in the tool. because I could see the changes. I would decide if I wanted to keep them or just revert them with a single click of button if needed. Back then, in December, there was, when Anthropic introduced the Model Context Protocol, this was a huge deal back then because basically it allowed you to connect to LLMs, allow you to connect your LLMs to your external tools. For example, like searching the web or you're browsing your local files, database, or working on your local files. And this required iterative agentic flow. So you gave tasks to LLM, LLM decides what tool to call, and then the tool would be executed, and then the result of the tool would go back to the LLM, and then the LLM would basically get you the final response. So as AiderDesk architecture does everything in the single shot, one shot, this wasn't a problem a little bit, and I knew that like implementing this in Aider wouldn't be really efficient to me, so I wasn't even trying back then. And I decided to build a custom implementation directly in AiderDesk to cover this use case. And this is basically how the agent mode was created within the AiderDesk. And from the technical point of view, I decided to go with AI SDK from Versal, which had support for various LLM providers, and also offered support for this kind of agentic flow. Yeah, but the most crucial point of this implementation of being agentic or having an agent was defining the system prompt. So the system prompt is the brain of the agent. It defines its role, its capabilities, and the steps it should basically take. So I looked at the system prompts of other tools, like open source tools like RuCode, Klein, and also combine them with the best practices I found in the guides from Google, from OpenAI. And in fact, I used Gemini to like combine all of these, get some basic system prompt, and then refine it to be able to cover many models, many various models. And I'm still experimenting with the system prompt today. It needs to be still improved based on the new models coming out. And for example, currently I'm trying to move from Markdown structure to XML structure to see if this performs better. Yeah, so this is just a little short demo about the agent mode, how it looks like within the Aider. So basically, like you will give tasks to AiderDesk, like you would do with different coding agent. And the agent or LLM will decide what to do next. So in this case, it decided to call a sub-agent, and sub-agent basically analyzed your code to see what needs to be done in order to fulfill your request. And then you will get the implementation plan, and you can play with it. You can refine it with the LLM, and if you are happy with it, you just basically tell the AiderDesk to proceed. And then the LLM or the AiderDesk will proceed with the changes. So here you can see that you still have the full control over the process. You still see what's going on there, which is very important to me, because we need to review the code still. We need to still see what's going on there. And then LLM or agent will decide to call additional agents if needed, or tools it has at its proposed tools it has. Yeah, so at first I wanted AiderDesk to be completely non-opinionated. So the idea was to let the user configure everything, like connect to whatever tools, to whatever providers, models you want, and to basically set up their specific workflow. Because I assumed that my main user base was coming from Aider, and then was the advanced users from Aider. But then something interesting happened. People basically who found Aider itself too complex started trying out AiderDesk, hoping for an easier entry point. And while the setup was much easier compared to Aider, there were still a lot of feedback that the setup, some of those providers or whatever was still confusing and complex. So back then I realized that okay, I'm not longer building just for these experts. and I needed to make the tool accessible to basically everyone. So this led to major shift in the implementation and the features I was working on. I added simple GUI interfaces to, for example, setting up model providers, so you didn't have to manually edit the config files. But most importantly, from the point of view of this agent mode, I created what I call the power tools. So instead of making users to find and configure their own tools for this basic task within the agent mode, I built a core set of essential capabilities right into the AiderDesk. So these basically are the tools you would know from different agents, like tools for editing files, writing new files, running bash commands, fetching URLs, data from websites. And this was a crucial decision to make the agent mode truly practical and accessible to just right out of the box. So yeah, like AiderDesk has been an open source project from day one, and this was a deliberate choice. But building in the open, especially as a small independent project, can be sometimes a double-edged sword. So on one hand, the benefits are obvious. You are open, people can contribute. And although we may not have the largest community, the quality of the feedback was very incredible during the time. And I basically received many feedback that made me think of things that I hadn't considered, and which made the tool better even for my own workflow. But on the other hand, the challenges are real. With a small team, often just me, it's hard to fulfill every request. And at this point, I would also like to publicly thank our intern, Christian Giga, who was working on AiderDesk during the summer. And he implemented many important features during the summer, so big thanks to him. Yeah, and as a small project, we are competing for attention against projects backed by big companies such as Anthropic, Google. So it's an uphill battle. But basically, we are not trying to outspending them. We are trying to win by out-listening to our users, because this wasn't just about solving my own pain points anymore. Back then, I was actively looking into Aider's GitHub issues and PRs to see what people were struggling with and asking for. And I was trying to implement those features into AiderDesk to get more users, and was successful in some cases. But also, listening to users from other tools is also very important. So every time a new feature comes out in Cloud Code, for example, or other tool, I think does this make sense to implement or to have in AiderDesk? And I usually wait some time to see what the feedback is, how the users react to it, and if it makes sense, then I will add it to AiderDesk. For example, the to-do list, which is a cool feature in Cloud Code, it was also added to Augment Code and other agentic tools, was also added to AiderDesk. And subagents is also another example of those. So it's about building a tool that is basically highly relevant to everyone's needs. Yeah, one of the most important decisions I made for the project was to adopt the strict Monday release schedule. So this isn't about just shipping features fast. It's about building a relationship with our user base. So it creates a reliable rhythm, and users know that rain or shine, a new version of AiderDesk will be released on each Monday. So this predictability is also a form of trust as well for us. And it also forces me into a continuous cycle of development, feedback, deployment, which prevents the project from stagnation as well. And the weekly short cycle means that I'm always working on the latest, most recent user feedback, the most recent features from other tools. And also users know that if they report the bug or suggest some improvement, they don't have to wait for months to be added into AiderDesk. So in some form, this turns users into true collaborators, even if they are not creating PRs themselves directly. They basically contribute by giving the feedback, reporting bugs, and in turn, they know that their voice is heard and their needs are being met in AiderDesk. So in the world of powerful tools from Anthropic, OpenAI, and Google, where does a small project like AiderDesk fit in? So our core philosophy is it still revolves around Aider as a powerhouse, because for the majority of our users, our current users, it's direct, it's efficient approach, and it's still the most effective way to code, especially if you know your code base, if you are experienced programmer. But we also need to recognize that the future is agentic, so that's why as AI models get more powerful, we are focused on enhancing the agent mode to push the boundaries of what's possible then. So my belief is that AiderDesk has a clear niche. It's definitely not built for general public or for vibe coders who just want to generate the entire application from a single prompt. It's mostly built for software engineers who understand the code base and the code they are working with, and who understands programming, and who also need fast and effective way to make the precise coding modifications. And the values are transparency, control, and efficiency. Like code mode performs tasks effectively and quickly. The agent mode is built for more complex workflows, but it's grounded in a system that still gives you the full control over the process. And AiderDesk is not trying to solve everything with just one massive black box. It's providing the tool that lets you remain in the driver's seat, so you still have the control. So at the end, like a little bit of prediction from my side, where this all is going. So my personal belief is, despite all of this incredible process for the agentic tools, we are still in MS-DOS era of AI coding. We have incredibly powerful tools, but we are still trying to figure out what's the best way to use them. And I think the sub-agents lately was the perfect example of this. It was a pretty simple solution and also kind of obvious, but thing to add to the agent, but it really made the big difference there. And I think the next great leap won't just come from our more powerful LLMs. It will come from designing better workflows, and the developer's role will shift from to breaking down complex business requirements into well-defined tasks for this coding agent or an other agent. And this can be basically delegated to full team of this specialized AI agent. So we will basically move from prompting a single agent to defining a process that will be executed by the team of multiple agents. So just an example, like planning agent will be able to break down the high-level task. Coding sub-agent will be able to write the code, and testing sub-agent will run the tests, etc. And AiderDesk with its agent and sub-agent architecture is just my small experiment in the future as well. I believe that the goal is not to replace us. It's to give each of us an entire team of AI specialists, and with us acting as a project lead. So if you haven't tried AiderDesk, I really recommend you to do so. Tell us what you think. I really love the feedback from people, and even the bad feedback is really good feedback. So thank you for your time, and if you have any questions, I will be able to answer them. Thank you.